Hello, everyone. How are you all tonight? Welcome. I'm Brooke, Intuitive Focus, and this is Misty Lynn the Medium, the second, apparently.
It's my second page. It's my address.
And we won't say bloody on the show, but we all know. Let's see who's here tonight. No comments? Okay. How are you today, Misty?
I am wonderful. The sun is coming up where I live. Brand new day. I feel great.
Oh, excellent. It's it was a sunny day in Adelaide today.
It's like
it was
there.
They reckon it's going to it's supposed to be what is it, spring? They reckon it's going to rain tomorrow, but Adelaide weather's up, whatever. That's it. I don't even watch the news, so I don't know until what happens. Hey, Carly. Hey, Carolyn.
Hello. Welcome.
Yep, they're rolling in at the moment. Misty.
Yes.
So, you're a medium.
I am a medium.
And you do healing and all sorts of stuff? I
do all kinds of things. My gifts are expanding every day, and it's lovely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Grateful.
One thing I ask when we have guests on the show is I ask them to talk about when they started getting into spirituality, or when they awakened and sort of come aware of their gifts and stuff.
Sure.
You can give us a rundown if you don't mind.
Well, I've always seen spirits and ghosts ever since I was a little kid. I grew up in a very old house. So it was a couple 100 years old. There was lots of energy in the house. I used to play with the little boy spirit. And it's just been like that my whole life. We moved several times when I was little, and then we ended up in a house that was like 100 years old. And there was a huge amount of spiritual activity in that house, like a huge amount. I remember going to sleep every night, and I would fall asleep, and a ghost guy would come and sit on the edge of my bed and talk to me. And I couldn't hear him, but I knew everything he was saying somehow. Honestly, he looked like Abraham Lincoln. I mean, if you could picture the hair and the sideburns and everything, and he was wearing just like a really old pair of like denim jeans, old fashioned, and just a plain white undershirt. And so there was a lot of activity in that house. And I remember I was about 11 years old the first time I did a flyover over my town, when I did some astral out of body flying. That was fun. And I don't know, I just had all these experiences, and I never really talked to anybody about them. I don't know. It's one of those things, like you don't talk about it, and you don't really know what other people are going through. You know what I'm saying?
How old were you then?
When I astral traveled?
Yep.
11.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I guess at that age you don't know what's normal. You don't know.
You don't.
I thought everyone was doing it.
All the cool kids are doing it, right? Yeah. You don't really know. And so I felt a lot of empathy for people, and I always felt like I understood things very well. My brothers used to call me a know-it-all all the time, because I would always know what to do, and I would always know the right thing to say. So they always used to pick on me and say that I was a know-it-all. It turns out I did know it all. I was getting the answers from somebody else, So, I mean, you learn to appreciate these things along the way. I didn't appreciate it at the time, but you do after the fact. So that was then. And then when I was about, I want to say I was probably 12 or 13, I was falling asleep one night, and there was just all these giggling noises and all this laughter and everything. And I was falling asleep, and all of a sudden I heard this huge cracking sound, like somebody hit my head with a sledgehammer, and my head went like that, scared the bejesus out of me. Ooh. I didn't feel anything, but it scared and all this like giggling and laughter. I slept with my mom after that for probably 2 months. Like, I was afraid to be in my room. because I didn't know what I was dealing with. I just like, there's not cool stuff in there. so I slept with my mom because my mom was safe. And
Yep.
And then I just kind of turned it off for a little while because I was freaked out by it, right? So I just kind of ignored all that stuff and just went through life being a normal person.
Okay.
And yeah. And then several years ago, I had a lot of time on my own, a lot of time to kind of, I don't know, do that internal search, and kind of reconcile some things about myself. People call it like a dark night of the soul or something. You go through like this really horrible, harrowing experience, and it really makes you wisen up to what's important and just, your life and bringing it into focus. And so I had that experience. Spent a lot of time in nature, just kind of, I had back surgery, so I was like alone a lot, and so I just spent a lot of time in introspection and just appreciating everything around me. And that really opened the door to where I am now.
Yep.
So I definitely recommend that to everyone.
Nature.
Be with nature. Yes. Reconnect to your source.
Yeah, I've just bought some camping equipment. I'm hoping to get out.
Oh, I don't camp.
I was
like, go camping. I'm like, no, I don't camp.
I need a toilet. I need a running toilet.
I need a soft bed. I've had back surgery, so I need a soft bed. I don't lay on the ground. Yeah, I hear you. But a lot of people enjoy camping.
So when you were young and you were talking like the boy spirit, what did it look like? Did he look physical or transparent?
Yes.
Or
yes, it was just like a white. I don't know. It's kind of almost like just a misty kind of a outline of a person, and he used to wake me up to go and pass a ball back and forth to him in the attic of the house that I lived in. And I complained to my mom one day that I was so tired. And she's like, why are you so tired? And I'm like, Henry won't let me sleep. He keeps wanting me to play ball with him. And she was like, so, but yeah, they look like you and I, but they're translucent, really.
Yep. And you said some of them speak and some of them don't speak, or?
Well, they speak to you telepathically. They don't speak in a physical voice. It's a different dimension.
Yep.
It's different, it's a different dimension of energy. That's why it's not physical.
So you still get their accents and?
Yep, very much. When I'm doing readings for people, sometimes like they're speaking to me in Spanish, and like at first, my ego is like, I don't speak Spanish, and then I'm like, wait, what are you trying to say? Like, what do you mean? And then I'll get the feelings and the intuitions of what they're telling me, and I can relate that. So it doesn't really matter what language you speak, there's universal energy. Yep.
So when you went through that as a kid, and then you said you went into the dark night of soul before you started really soul searching. What age were you around then when you really started sort of picking up on that?
This was probably about, this happened in like 2017.
Yep.
So about 4 years ago, I started spending a lot of time just introspective, sitting outside in my hammock, just staring at trees and thinking about life, and it was all just so peaceful and beautiful, and everything, just watching the breeze move the leaves in the tree, just like imagining yourself as a leaf and like having that experience. That will really help you understand the connection between all of us on this physical plane. You are the tree, when you're seeing it and feeling it, you are the tree, and it's just a beautiful thing. I shared a post on Facebook the other day. It was like a little ant hill. And I'm like, look how beautiful this little ant hill is. It's so silly. Don't mind me. I'm just weird. It's okay. But yeah, I had that experience. Like I said, I had back surgery and I was medicated.
Yep.
like crazy for that. Mind you, it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything I hadn't already prior been taking to my surgery because I was on pain management for so long. My back was messed up.
Yep.
And so I was already on all those medications. So I had a very interesting experience, a life-changing experience, about a month after my surgery. Uh-oh, what happened?
No, just getting some freeze ups.
My computer just.
Yeah, you're still live. We're still good.
I am. My screen is totally black. Spirit's funny. Like.
Okay. You're coming through at this end, fine and proper.
Wonderful.
Everything's good.
Wonderful. Okay, great. So I had this life-changing experience, and I had a visitation from light beings one afternoon. I would say at about 7 p.m. I had a visitation from light beings, and I had an out-of-body, out-of-time, space, reality experience, and it really, like, expanded my consciousness to the point where I started having all of these physical, spiritual gifts coming through, and it didn't all hit me at once. It was just like a little over time.
Yep.
I'm freezing up really bad. I'm sorry. My computer's being silly because Spirit,
Yep. No, you're coming through this end. You're coming through this end perfect.
Wonderful.
Everything's good.
Okay.
So just,
Yeah, they came to me, and it was really crazy. I had like a timeline jump while I was sitting at my kitchen table eating dinner. And I was all of a sudden I was in this reality with the same people, but it was so far-fetched. The scenario, the situation was just so far-fetched that it just kind of made me feel like, whoa, what's going on? And I turned and I looked at the person next to me, and they could tell I was so freaked out, and they were just like, I don't know what the heck you're thinking, but you're so completely off base. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to go lay down. Right. So I got up from the table and I went and laid down on my bed. I had my nightside lamp on, and I just laid on the bed and I closed my eyes. I wasn't going to sleep. I was just trying to relax. And as soon as I closed my eyes, I felt a presence with me. And I did not open my eyes because I kind of didn't want to see what it was, but I could feel it. I could feel it like somebody just as strong as somebody laying next to you in a bed, like I felt this presence with me. And then all of a sudden they spoke to me telepathically.
Yep.
I say they because there was two of them. I knew that there was two of them. I knew that there were two individual energies, but I didn't open my eyes to see what was there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so they spoke to me and they said, we want you to come with us. And I somehow spoke back to them, just using my thoughts. And I said, where do you want me to go? And they said, we want you to come with us to the other side of the galaxy. And I was like, why?
Yeah, good call.
To the other side of the galaxy. Like, I'm just some random person in Texas, like, why me? And they said, we want you to see what Earth looks like from over there. And I thought about it for a second, and I said, okay, I don't really want to go, but okay. And as soon as I agreed to it, just like that, I was there. Just instantaneously, I was like in space, and I was looking across space at this tiny little speck of a planet that housed all of my hopes and fears and dreams and stress and worry, and billions of people that were striving for things. Everybody's striving and stressing life. And it immediately changed my whole perspective, because here we are, all these billions of people worrying about ourselves, worrying about other people, trying to make it ahead, and we're just this tiny little speck in the universe.
Yep.
You know? And as soon as I had that realization, I was pulled back into time. I was pulled back in time, just pulled back in time. And I went to the very beginning of time. And I met Source. I met the source of everything. And I was told what to do. And we experienced the separation from Source. And I relived my entire soul journey all the way back up to the moment that I re-entered my body. And it took probably about 13 or 14 million years. And I did not know I was me until the moment that I caught up to myself.
Wow. And
it all happened in the span of a second.
My God, that's amazing.
It was insane, dude. I come and I'm just like, and I'm like, nobody else has done this, and it's not fair because nobody can relate to what you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like being struck by lightning. There's only a couple people lived through that, and you get it because it's so intense. But yeah, it was crazy. And then after that, I don't know, I just kind of sort of started like getting interested in psychic readings, and I joined a group on Facebook where they did readings, and I I would request a reading or whatever, and I started getting all this information about people's photographs, and then I just joined a free reading group where you could practice, and I started reading people's energy through their photographs. And it was just for fun, And everybody was always like, wow, you're so accurate. I'm like, thanks. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep. I can relate to that.
What I'm doing. And then I started getting messages from people's loved ones to give to them. And I'm like, I don't know what this is all about, but here you go. And it was helping people. And it made me feel such a great sense of purpose. To be able to give people these healing messages and to help them on their journey in some way.
It just warms your heart, doesn't it? It just makes it glow.
It just makes everything so perfect. And I remember back in 2009, I was married to a dude, and we had been sitting there one day just talking, chit-chatting, and we were talking about heaven and what heaven meant to us, what we thought heaven was. And, I feel like everybody has their own idea of what heaven is. And I think it's different for everybody. And I think it's supposed to be different for everybody, But I told him, I sat there in 2009 and I told him, I said, my personal idea of heaven is waking up every day and spending the whole day helping people, being able to help people be happy, And then you help people, and then you go to sleep and you wake up the next day and you do it all over again. And it just feels good, And then fast forward 10 years, here I am doing exactly that. And I'm living my own version of heaven, and I'm extremely grateful for that. It's wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know what that's like. When you start giving people messages and it helps them get their life together, it's just, you just feel your heart just go boom.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what we're here to, experience that and help with all that part and help each other.
Absolutely.
That's brilliant. Mm-hmm. So when you started getting when your gifts started coming in, can you tell us how they sort of came in after that happened?
Well, it's interesting because so for example, this happened to me one day, and it was strange. I'm going out to eat. My husband and my daughter and I were going to Chili's, and there was a waiting list to eat, and we're just standing there waiting. And I start looking around because I'm a people watcher. I start looking around, and every person that my eyes set on, I could see them as a child. Like I knew exactly what they looked like as a child. And I'm like, this is weird. Why do I need to know what people look like as a child?
Yeah, that's interesting.
every single person that I looked at, I saw them as a child. And so I'm like, I told my husband, I'm like, this is happening and I don't understand why, you know. And that's the thing. It just comes in little bits and pieces. It's never really overwhelming. And sometimes you really don't know why things are happening, but they just kind of develop along the way. You know, it's like learning a new language. You get the basic words, and then you learn bigger words and making sentences and so on and so forth. So after that, you know, I didn't pay much attention to it, but as I developed my mediumship and being able to connect to people energetically, I realized that I could connect to people and go into their life and see them as a child and see what they experienced as a child that traumatized them and created these kind of like soul scars inside of them.
Yep.
And that was so that I could help them identify those scars and heal those scars so they could be on a better path in life. See? Yeah. So it was all like, I don't understand why this is happening, but the knowledge comes. It's not like a crash course, you know. It's like a book for idiots. You just kind of, I mean, I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. So basically just do it. Just go with it. You know, don't try to pick it apart. Don't try to figure out what it is. Just accept what it is. Just be like, okay, well, that's a thing now. And then just go with it. And use it to help people.
Yeah. Just don't try to break it apart and, you know, overanalyze. That's just overthinking.
Yeah. Do you think that's a big thing with some gifts is exercising them and using them to help?
Absolutely.
People?
Absolutely. I feel like if you don't use them, then it gets rusty just like everything else. I feel like it's important to use them. Yeah. Hone your skills. And the more you use it, the easier it is. And then it kind of like elevates in a way. You know, because I went from reading pictures to connecting to loved ones, to connecting to archangels, to connecting to planets, to connecting to source energy. So it's like, I don't know, it just, it's just one of those things you have to use.
Okay. People, if you have any questions, just write them down in the comment section. And near the end of the show, we'll run through all the questions. I've got someone taking questions in the background. And so feel free to ask questions during the show, and we will get them, and we'll get back to the end of the show with them.
Absolutely.
And also, please share us out.
Please share. Absolutely.
Yeah, please share. Sharon is Karen, whoever Karen is. Right. But so what other, as you were developing, can you tell us how some gifts developed into other gifts for the people that are developing?
Well, you know, I feel like intuition, everybody has intuition. We all have, we're all just energy being beamed into this physical manifestation of a body. Okay. And we're all crystal shards of source energy. And I know that to be true because I saw it. I saw the separation from source. And so I know that we're all just these little crystal shards. And it's like, you get intuition, you get messages from your higher self. I would say there's probably 10% of your soul inside of this physical body. The rest of it is outside of your physical body, like a light beam, just kind of beaming into your body. And listen to that intuition. Now, a lot of people confuse intuition with their ego, okay? Because the ego lives in the mind as well. I always advise people to always go with your first instinct, because your soul is directing you, whether you know it or not. Your first instinct, even if it sounds crazy, is exactly what you're supposed to do. Unless, of course, it's go hurt somebody. Don't do that. But when you are calm and you are relaxed and you don't know what to do, you just chill yourself out and say, how do I handle this situation? And you listen, listen to what your soul is trying to tell you. Now, the ego will come in immediately after that first bit of advice and say, maybe not, What if this happens? What if that happens? Because the ego is centered in the fear of the mind. Yep. And this keeps you from expanding and experiencing new things, because it's kind of like self-protect mode, you know?
Yep.
So always listen to your very first message. Ignore everything after that makes you question it.
Yep.
That's my best advice. So if you want your gifts to grow, then you have to be comfortable listening to your intuition. You need to trust it. And it's really hard to trust your intuition, because we have all had experiences where we thought we were following our intuition and we got hurt.
Yep.
Right? So it's like, oh, but last time this happened. You know, I trusted my intuition one time and I got my heart broken. Well, maybe it wasn't your intuition. Maybe it was your ego.
Yep.
Right?
I can vouch for that. Listening to my intuition. Like, I've been on the way to work and then I hear, turn down that road. And then the ego goes, you're late for work. Another time, intuition.
Right, right.
But as you say, like, you go into fear, and it's it makes us hard, because we've spent so much of our lives, but dealing with the ego, the intuition, a lot of people must really squash down.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we deal with our ego because we're constantly evolving as a soul. Unless you're born as an old soul, your ego is going to control most of your actions and thoughts and feelings throughout your life. Young souls are very egocentric, centered souls that are just beginning their soul journey, and they have so much to learn about empathy and compassion and love. That is the purpose of the soul, to experience things, to get to that point where you can love unconditionally yourself and everybody else. But we're not born that way. As human beings, we don't start there. That's something that we learn through a process of reincarnation in a state of duality.
Yep.
So young souls are just kind of new to all that, new to experiencing things. And it's just like, riding a bike. You fall down and you scrape your knee and it hurts. And so next time you're a little more careful not to do that, But young souls haven't had experienced that pain. And so they just kind of do whatever the heck they want,
Yeah. I mean, I see that all the time. As we were talking last night, I remember just growing up, even as a child, and watching some of the adults going, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not right. That's not going to end well for you. And
right.
I was a child. I didn't know really much at that age, but I could just see like what, and I didn't know what that was about. I just knew that was not going to end good and not the thing to do.
Like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Probably should have knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, it's just one of those things. It's not like a rapid progression. Some people have instant awakening. I don't think that happens very often. Yes, near-death experiences and things like that can really open your eyes quick, like a bucket of cold water. But for most people, it's like a process of soul evolution. So can everybody tap into psychic gifts? No. I feel like you have to be progressed to a certain point on your soul journey that you can appreciate empathy and compassion and use it to direct your actions and intentions in life, because think about it. If you would have a psychopath or a sociopath using spiritual gifts, that would just make life miserable for everyone. That would be horrible.
I thought they were the people that are in charge of the planet.
Well, that's a whole other show.
Yes,
a whole other show.
That's it. Sorry,
energy,
don't ban us.
Energy. I mean, it's all energy. Energy is in every single space. There's no such thing as empty space. And light is energy. And in considering that there's a lot of multidimensional beings that we can't see, spirit is all around us, even though you can't see them. And as I was saying about your light beam directing into your physical body, you know, if you think about it like a flashlight, okay.
Yep.
If you have a flashlight beaming down and another flashlight cuts across it, it's going to interrupt your light beam. So this is why people hear so many things and think so many things that are sometimes out of character for themselves. It's because other energies are kind of intersecting your energy and you hear them. Perhaps you feel them sometimes. This is a big reason why so many people are experiencing anxiety right now. This heaviness in your chest. If you think about your energetic circle, your 6 feet of energy around you, if you feel like it's a clear bubble all around you, if somebody else's clear bubble comes within 6 feet, you're going to feel that. And it's not going to be the same frequency as you, because practically nobody is the same frequency. Okay. And we tend to surround ourselves with people who are different frequencies because we all work together. Right. So when you're feeling these energies come close or get inside of your personal space, it's going to cause a shift in your frequency, and it's going to cause you to feel panic because it's not familiar.
Yep.
Okay. So it's either going to raise you up or it's going to lower your frequency. And because we're not quite aware of that, you know, most people are not aware that energy comes into your energy and you can't see it. You just feel it in your heart. That's why people have pain in the chest. You know, that's why they feel like something's weighing on their chest, because we're all heart-centered beings and we're all connected through the one heart, right?
Yep.
So if you feel these feelings, then you just want to set your boundaries so that other energy cannot come into your energy. Because if you don't set boundaries, okay, spirit will do whatever they want.
Yep.
That's something that I learned right away. You have to set boundaries with spirit. Don't wake me up when I'm trying to sleep. Don't enter my energy without permission, you know.
Yep.
So you can just set boundaries. You do not have permission to be in my energy. Please leave.
So you just state that?
That is absolutely what I state.
Yep. With intent. Do you think with people coming with energies, and
you have
some
trolls
people?
in your life.
Have I?
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, yep. That's it. I've yet to get an accurate reading from one of those people.
I know, they just want your money, right? Oh, goodness. Anyways. Yeah.
So when people cross energies, do you think, say like the new empaths, when, you know how you get a lot of people, they just get into spirituality and they go really sensitive empath and they pick up on that and they tend to take on everyone's energy and think that they're just oversensitive. Have you got any advice?
I think it's for a new empath, you're going to be oversensitive. I feel just like everything else, the more you do it, you it's not that you become immune to the sensations, but you become used to the sensations. So people who are new to being empathic, I feel like we're all energy sponges. That's what I just call it. We're all energy sponges, and we just soak up other people's energy if you don't put any kind of boundaries for yourself. Okay. And then just like an energy sponge that's soaking up dirty dishwater, you got to wring that stuff out every once in a while. You know, you got to ground yourself. You got to clear your energy. You have to get back to you. So when people are new or just opening up to empathic feelings, it causes a lot of anxiety. Okay, because you're feeling all kinds of things that you're not used to feeling. You start feeling depressed because you're exchanging energy with everyone you talk to, everyone you talk to online, everyone you talk to in person, everyone at your job. Why do you think so many people after COVID, after being locked down and staying away from all of that crap energy that they worked with, didn't want to go back to work? Because they were finally feeling themselves again.
Yep.
So in that way, it was a good thing. But other than that, it's just crap. So I think it helped with mass awakening. Honestly, I think that was one of the positive things about, the global lockdown, was that it helped people get back in their own energy and realize how unhappy they were with their 3D materialistic lifestyle, where it's just go, 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 get, get, get. But yeah, new empaths, it's going to be all very overwhelming, and it's really important to just kind of keep yourself balanced and centered and cleanse your energies off as possible.
Yep. I know, because some of them take it as like, oh, I've got special superpowers, and they're like, it's my burden to wear. It's like, dear God, people.
Yeah, well, that would be a somewhat young soul. Like I said, trying to still living in the ego. So, the interesting part of it is, there's a lot of speculation on the purpose of the ego and overcoming the ego, subduing the ego, getting yourself rid of the ego. It's not really what you're supposed to do with it. It's like for most of your journey, the ego is driving the car, and then it comes to a point where you're in the passenger seat and say, hey, let me drive. You can sit there and give me directions, and I can choose whether or not to take them. Like the ego is going to be the one, plotting the GPS. And then you can decide whether or not you want to take that route or if you want to do something else, and it's also about the heart-mind communication, everything being in alignment.
Yep.
When the ego's in charge, it doesn't care about the heart.
Yeah, we like when you start, coming in tune with these things and, being in the moment, we don't realize how much we really are on autopilot.
Right.
As really reaction machines.
Absolutely.
And it's just amazing.
It really is. It really is.
And when you can get past that and start to take the steering back off of the ego, it just opens up your life just in so many amazing ways. It's just unbelievable.
And isn't it interesting, because when you do start taking control back from the ego, there's going to be I swear, I could count how many times, there will be so much kickback from that. Yep. There will be so much kickback in your personal life, and it'll feel so out of the ordinary and different. And then there's fear. There's actual fear from stepping outside of that comfort zone. And don't hate yourself if you end up reverting back, and just taking a step back and going back to your old habits and your old ways. Like, don't be upset with yourself, because it is a learning process. And stepping outside of fear is such a hard thing to do. Fear controls most people's daily lives, and the fear of failing, the fear of succeeding, the fear of death. Like, there's so many things that are controlled by fear. It's hard to step outside of that and just, be brave, because the ego doesn't want you to.
I know, because the ego wants the norm. It wants us to be comfortable. And
absolutely.
And when we're, co-creating in the moment, it can be very scary.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, especially when you're like stepping out in mediumship.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I remember, I've done a tiny bit of that, and just when you get something in your head, just to say it to someone else, it's like, no, I'm not going to say that. It's so scary. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not going to tell them that? You tell them
absolutely. That happened to me as soon as I started my first page, which explains the Misty, the medium too here. As soon as I started my first page, I was doing a mediumship reading for this girl, and Spirit came in and told me to tell her, stop being a petty bee, right? Like she was being super petty. That's what they came in and told me. She got so offended by what I'm like, please, I'm just telling you exactly what I'm hearing. She got so offended. She went on my page. She gave me like a 1-star review. She had all of her friends go on my page and give me a 1-star review. People I didn't even know just going on there. And I'm like, well, look, Spirit knew you were a petty bitch. Like,
yeah, just proved it.
Right. And so I had that page for like 3 years on Facebook. And then my profile got banned from something that I posted, like permanently banned. And I lost access to that business page. So it's still on Facebook. I can't even close the page. I can't get into it. And that's Misty the Medium. The first one. So now it's Misty the Medium too, so people can still find me. I just had to start a new page in October. So that's why, there's only a few hundred followers or something on there. I've been doing this for many years professionally. I'm a full-time psychic. This is what I do. This is my job.
So have you, so if someone's training in mediumship, have you got any, if you could go back to when you started doing mediumship, what advice would you give yourself?
I would definitely suggest, what I seem to do now is, when you're receiving messages from spirit, it's coming through your consciousness. It's coming through your thoughts and feelings and experiences. And so they use your thoughts and feelings and experiences to relay messages to their loved ones. Yep. Okay. And this is why you can have 3 different readings from 3 different mediums at the same time, connecting to the same spirit, because they're using your individual thoughts, feelings, and emotions and all of that. Okay. So what I would suggest, if you're training in mediumship, first of all, you need to trust whatever you're hearing, whatever you're feeling. Trust is such an important part of being a medium and channeling messages from spirit. Yep. Like, they're not going to keep using you as a conduit if you don't relay the messages. Like, I've had experiences where I did not like the message I was receiving from them, and I did not tell the person the message because my ego decided that I wasn't, I wasn't going to give that bad news, or I wasn't going to whatever. So you really have to just completely trust what you're hearing and feeling and just go with it. Now, another thing I would suggest when you're practicing mediumship is write stuff down. Write the messages down, because sometimes I receive the messages and I write it down, and it's just a word or a phrase most of the time, or a feeling or whatever. I write it down, and perhaps the person doesn't resonate with that message right then, Yep. And then you continue talking to them, and then it comes back around to that message, and then they understand it. So it's like, oh, okay, all of this resonated with you. It just wasn't in the order in which I received it. You know what I'm saying? So that helps a lot to write things down, because you're going to be receiving all kinds of messages, perhaps from several people. It's really good to set boundaries with spirit. Tell them how you want to work, where you want to work. I only work in this space when I'm here. I don't do it in other places in my home. I've set this space. Like, when I sit here, spirit knows that I'm ready to work,
Yep.
So
good idea.
It's just set a specific area for doing your work, so that they know this is where we come and talk to you. We don't bother you when you're sleeping in your bed. We don't come and chat with you when you're in the shower. You know what I mean? Just right here. I mean, who wants that?
That's it. Do you mind? How rude.
How rude. Do you mind? I'm taking a shower. Oh, man. Okay. Well,
So you do you do a lot of other stuff apart from mediumship, don't you?
Yes, I do. I the thing about me is I connect to people's energy through your eyes. I'm not sure if people are aware of this, but you've heard the saying, the eyes are the window to the soul. I'm sure you've heard that before. It's a very
Absolutely.
popular thing. But what people don't realize, and what I didn't realize until I re-experienced my whole soul journey all over again, is that your eyes are always the same. Like you incarnate with the same eyes every single time.
Never thought of that.
Yes. And by connecting to somebody's energy, I literally just, when I look at somebody, I literally just go inside of their soul energy, and I can go into past lives. I can see past lives. I'm it's very strong clairvoyant energy. I can see the most likely future that they're going to have. I'm extremely good at fertility. I'm a medical medium, so I can go inside people's energy and see like physical things that are going on inside of their body. Spirit gives me like medical words and stuff that I'm just like, let me Google that. I don't know what that's about. And I'll look and I'll be like, oh, it's about this. And they're like, oh, yeah. And then people will go to the doctor and be like, yeah, that's exactly what the doctor said. And I'm like, well, I'm glad, you're getting it looked at or whatever. I'm a healer. I can send universal Christ consciousness energy. I use chromotherapy, color therapy, light to heal. I have a healing touch. So if I touch somebody, I can heal them. And I'm a spiritual catalyst. So when people connect to my energy, usually it will propel them in some way.
Yep.
So like I already know with you, Brooke, since you just started mediumship, that your mediumship ability is going to open up from our connection. So that's
cool.
just, it's really awesome to be able to help people in so many different ways. It really is.
Yep. Absolutely. Because as you know, you said you're all self-taught, and well, that's the part of this show is so people can connect and they can get help. Because I spent a couple of years just weaving my way through everywhere, trying to find someone I could learn off of.
Absolutely.
And I found it quite hard.
Yep.
I went through the conspiracy and then into the sort of alien stuff. And then when I got to, all I had was guided meditations on YouTube for all night, and then I'd search around on podcasts like this, and then that's how I learned to get started really developing, because I'd come in someone that I could, that would just really resonate with me, and it would sort of steer me in the right direction to work out where I was going to, sort of try and train my spirituality. Sure. Because there's no straight book. There's no straight book to this. Nope. I mean, if if there is, they've got it under pretty good lock and key somewhere. And
what's interesting about it is, I think it's the same way as like with parenting. There's no book on parenting, because each of us are an individual aspect of source energy. We have our own feelings, thoughts, and ideas. Love means something to me. I'm sure it means a different feeling entirely to you. Trust, fear, anger, happiness. It is very distinct for each and every one of us. So your spiritual journey will be distinct for each and every one of us as well. That's why it's important to kind of just like, if you get the inclination to get a deck of tarot cards, do it. That's not going to be for everyone. If you get the inclination to learn Reiki, do it. It's just listening to the guidance of your soul. Listen to your intuition. Yours was like, look for podcasts. Like, I didn't get that intuitive guidance to look for podcasts. I was by myself, like sitting in my yard, not knowing anything about this. And Spirit just one day like showed me a group on Facebook, and I was like, meh, okay. And I went in there, and that's what kind of started that whole process. So just follow your intuition. And, if you say, I think I'm going to go to the coast this weekend, that's exactly what you need. And you should do it. You never know who you're going to meet. You might run into somebody that plants a seed inside of your energy that creates a new branch of your life. You never know.
You never know. Divine timing.
Absolutely.
And that's what I find funny when people worry about, love readings. Oh, when's my partner coming? Don't worry about it. They'll rock up. Don't worry about it.
What's interesting about that, I stopped getting that question from people because my answer never changed. My answer never, ever changed. When you can love yourself the way you want somebody else to love you, they will show up.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
That's it. The frequency match.
The frequency match. Energy is magnetic. And if you want a perfect partner for you, you have to be the perfect partner for yourself.
Yeah. And that doesn't just mean going to gym, people.
No. It means learning to love yourself, learning to give yourself what you need on a soul level, filling your own needs so that your cup is full, so your heart is full. When somebody comes into your life, you don't need them to make you feel loved. You have love for yourself, and anything that they can give you is extra.
Nice. Mm-hmm. That's it. And if you're lucky, they'll cook for you too.
If you're lucky. Yes, that's definitely a bonus. Absolutely.
So with your healing, is there anything else you want to talk about, what you've learned with healing?
It's very important when you start healing people to know that everything is an energy exchange. Okay. Most people just go out and do, healings on people or Reiki on people. And sometimes they're not quite aware that they're taking on the other person's energy. I used to do free group healings on Facebook. And it was a hard lesson for me. I would do free group healings on Facebook, just connecting to people visually through my camera. And I would send healing out to them. And then it would just knock me out physically for like a week because I wasn't releasing that enough when I was done. So it's like I said, it's important to clear your energy out. If you're going to soak up a bunch of negativity and give out positive energy, you got to squeeze that sponge, You got to go ground yourself, reconnect with the planet. We are all on the planet. We are part of the planet. We do not exist without the planet. Go out, take your shoes off, sit outside, and just absorb the energy of the planet. It's really good for clearing.
Any other tips for people how to look after their energies?
Absolutely. You can, there's so many different opinions about this. I feel like our mind, your mind is the most powerful tool in your arsenal, really. Because your mind is creating your reality, and where you put your energy is what you will manifest. So if you're constantly in a state of fear about something, about your health, you're going to manifest health issues. Okay, because you're putting all your energy towards that. So what I suggest people do is just use your visualization skills and your ability to manifest positive vibrations and heart-centered vibrations. You can manifest a shield around yourself. You can imagine yourself in like a soap bubble or surrounded by mirrors that are pointing out, or just, connect to your angels and guides and just ask them for protection. Angels, guides, loved ones, they're all there to help you on your journey, but you have free will. All right. It's completely up to you what you allow in your life. And if you don't allow energy inside of your personal space by saying you're not allowed in my personal space, then they have no right to be there, and they have to leave. And with spirit guides and angels and loved ones that are kind of like guiding you on your journey, trying to help you make the right choices, you have to ask for their help. They can't just step in. You have to ask for their help, because you have free will.
Absolutely. I don't know how many readings I get that come up that say, you got to ask for help. You got to ask your guides for help. They're waiting there for you to ask them.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, think about it. You're just going, you're driving along, and then somebody in the passenger seat takes the wheel and yanks it. You're going to be ticked off, like you have no right to do that. I'm driving the car.
Yeah.
Like you have to give permission. Yeah.
Would you like to have a look at some questions?
Sure. I'd love to answer some questions.
Sure. One person asks, do you find your intuition comes more out of life-changing, comes out more after life-changing experiences?
I feel like your perspective on life shifts when you have a life-changing experience. And it truly depends. Like I'm all about frequency. I think everything has a frequency. Your name has a frequency. My name has a frequency. It's very easy to tap into energy when you realize that it's different frequencies. Like I can say, okay, Brooke and Janelle is not going to be a good couple because you're two different frequencies. Like I can hear the frequency. So if you have a positive experience, yeah, you probably are strengthening your intuition because positive vibrations are closer to your higher self and your angels and guides.
Oh, of course.
Where if you have a negative experience that might create a seed of doubt or fear in your mind, I don't think that would positively influence you hearing your intuition. I think that would positively influence you hearing your ego.
Yep. I have another question. You're talking about instant, some people like near-death experience or an instant awakening. Have you met anyone that has had an instant awakening?
Sure. I've met people that were in a coma that were not spiritual in any way, shape, or form. And when they've come out of a coma, they now have a different, view. Of course, there's always, the walk-in that happens when the person driving the car switches out with somebody else in their soul family because they've experienced that or have not experienced that in their journey. So there's that kind of situation. Those are the two main ones that I know. Like a near-death experience will cause a major shift in your timeline and a walk-in. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And in your shorts.
It's interesting because there's so many there's so much that I have here that I could share with you. Like just all the different psychological disorders are explainable by energy,
Yep.
All of it. It's just, there's just so much.
So
next question.
So you'd go that into your healing. You'd use all that information to.
Yeah. There's, schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is hearing multiple voices, right? Yep. Hearing multiple voices. But when you think about your beam of light and a cross beam, all right, you're really just such an open channel that you're receiving everything. Yep. So it's really all about like fine-tuning your dial, fine-tuning your channel and grounding yourself so that you're not open to receiving all of that. So it's not like a medical condition, it's an energy condition.
That makes total sense. It's like when you have blocked chakras, like one classic thing is when your crown's overactive and you're not grounding properly, you'll get energy bounce back, and you'll find it like when you find it really intolerant to you found people that aren't spiritual on your level to be really intolerant of them, because your energy chakra is just all offline. It's just sort of like just blown out. Right. And
everything is unbalanced.
Yeah. And I guess it just all comes back to energy, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's all about the energy.
I have another question. Would the energy felt by an individual be misinterpreted based on one's beliefs?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Personal experience, my ex-partner had a lot of PTSD and trauma in his life. And so he was always microanalyzing everything and overthinking everything. And so it became a struggle in our relationship because everything I said or did was microanalyzed. And people who have experienced a lot of pain and trauma in their life usually are projecting that pain and trauma out to other people. Yep. And they're very empathic, okay? And because they're so used to like receiving. So they're projecting pain out onto other people, and they can misinterpret other people because they are getting the feedback of their own emotions. So it happened numerous times where I was accused of feeling a certain way or thinking something or being in a type of mood when I was fine. And it was just him feeling his own energy. and not wanting to accept that it was his. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So yeah, absolutely. You could totally misinterpret it. You have to know what is yours and what is other people's. And if you don't spend time by yourself, and this is something that a lot of people have when they have fear and trauma, they don't like their own company. They don't want to be alone, because then they have to deal with everything that they're thinking and feeling.
Yep.
Once you can become accustomed or comfortable with your own thoughts and feelings, you become better at interpreting other people's energies because it doesn't feel like yours.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Karina asks, please advice. I've been an empath all my life and never been able to turn down the level that screams at me.
The level of energy? Or...
Yeah, I think that's what she means, the level of energy.
I would definitely suggest using some crystals for protection. You know, black obsidian is really good for absorbing negative energy. If you're just too open, you could have like an overactive heart chakra as well, right? It's receiving other people's energy. I would just look into that, having an overactive heart chakra and using crystals for protection.
Yep.
And again, clearing out your energy. Yeah.
Margaret asks, Margaret Rogerson asks, Misty, can you pick up my energy?
I can pick up everybody's energy.
There you go. How would
I literally can do medical scans on people on Facebook Live, not even seeing their face, with just their name. I can connect to their energy. Mm-hmm.
Samantha asks, how would someone let go of their fears fully to be able to open up to spirits?
I would definitely start with the least scary one. And I would definitely start with the least scary one. Okay. So, you know, it's just, okay. For example, I had a phobia of mice. Okay. And it was because I lived in a house that, like, all of a sudden it seemed like overnight I had a mouse infestation and it freaked me out. Yep. And then I had a phobia of mice after that. I didn't want anything to do with them. I don't like looking at them. I don't want them around me. And then one day I had somebody in my Facebook group request a medical scan on their pet rat. And I was like, nope. Not doing it. Nope. But Spirit's like, no, you're going to do it. And I'm like, So I was like, fine. And so I had to connect to this rat and, you know, be in the energy of the rat. And it helped her a lot. So it's like one of those things like, do you want to live in this fear for the rest of your life? And also it's important to realize that your physiological response to fear and your physiological response to excitement are exactly the same.
Yep.
Butterflies in your stomach, cold sweat down your spine, you know, shaking. These are all the same responses when you're excited or when you're afraid. And it's completely up to you what feeling you're going to attribute that to. You could say, I'm really excited about starting this new job tomorrow. Or you could say, I'm scared to death. You know, but it's totally your choice what you feel.
Yep. I can relate to that. I've had some things that I've done and like extreme sports, and you have to I used to race stock cars.
Oh wow.
And it's just you've got to get past that fear, and it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. You just got to learn to function with it. Right. And it can be quite exhilarating too.
Absolutely.
When you're going through that. But as soon as you back away from it and go, like, I'm not going to push myself into that fear. Right. You're not on the edge, you know, you're not even doing what you should be doing.
Absolutely. And another thing that could be influencing the fears that you have in your life, it could be past life connection with that type of situation that ended badly for you. You know, like if you fell off a bridge, you know, you're going to have a fear of heights. You might have a fear of bridges. You know, you might have a fear of falling. And if you can get somebody to do a past life reading for you to see if you had that kind of a connection in another life, you can allow yourself to let go of that feeling because it's not present in this life, and it's something that you've already experienced and you no longer need to experience it. Like, we don't have to experience things more than once. We don't have to. We're gonna be shot to death. We're gonna hang. We're gonna be stabbed. We're gonna have a heart attack. We're gonna die from cancer. You're like, there's all these different ways that we're going to leave the physical plane, but you don't have to repeat it. So once you can get an understanding of whether or not it's caused from a past life, if you don't have any physical sensation, physical reality in this life that would attribute to that fear, that, irrational fears, really, then it's probably connected to a past life, and you can release it and don't let it interrupt your flow anymore. Because really it just interrupts your flow.
Yep. And that's what, that's part of the, we all know that's part of our growth, to dig up those things and deal with it, to see what's holding us back from going with our flow.
Absolutely.
It's so important, the past life, and what it's like. You move forward, you look for blocks, clean them out, and then foot flat down again.
Absolutely.
Take off.
Absolutely.
Another message. Could that not? Which one? Could that have anything to do with ones who's lived many lives, to do with schizophrenia?
Not to my understanding, no.
Okay.
No. I received that information in a download about the different psychological disorders. I received the information that describes all of that, and to my knowledge, that doesn't have anything to do with it.
Okay. Have you got any other stories that you'd wish to share?
I don't know. What do you want to know?
I don't know.
It's just one of those things where you're not aware of what you're capable of until you cross paths with it. And, I learned one day that I could do remote viewing, and I was sitting there talking to somebody over Messenger, doing a little reading over Messenger, and I just saw exactly where they were sitting, what they were doing. I even explained, okay, you have a can of Coke here and a cigarette in your hand, and you're shaking your leg, and they were just blown away. And so was I, because I was like, I didn't know I could do that. So it's just, don't be afraid of things that happen to you, because when you have fear, like, spirit is going to bring you situations. Okay, spirit's going to test the waters with you, so to speak. And if your initial reaction is fear, you're not ready. You're just not ready to experience that in this timeline. So try not to be fearful. Try to experience everything as just a wonderful gift, even if it's a horrible feeling. You're perfectly safe to feel that. Anything that you are feeling, you are safe to feel. If you were not safe to feel it, you wouldn't be experiencing it. So just, know that you're safe in your body. Know that you are connected to everyone. Everyone is equally important. You have a place in this timeline, just like Brooke and just like myself. Like, we're all here for a reason, and we need to remember that we are valid. Like, our experiences, our thoughts and feelings are valid, and they're important in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That was excellent. I'll have to watch that as a replay. Yeah. I never thought about it, but it all comes back to the fear with stepping out with our gifts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just one more thing that I want to mention. I was just reminded of it. People have a hard time putting themselves in other people's shoes, especially when the other person is kind of behaving in a way that they wouldn't behave, or partaking in an action or something that they wouldn't, and they're judgmental. And there's a lot of judgmental people in our society, and they can't relate. You've got your drug addicts and your kidnappers and your murderers and all of this. There's every kind of person. There's every kind of soul experiencing their journey on this planet. And if you could understand that we are all walking the same path, but we are all in different places along the journey, so if you want to judge the person that's deep into a drug addiction, then that's all fine and good for you. But that just means that you haven't experienced that in your journey yet. Okay, because if you can have empathy and compassion for that person, then that means that you've already experienced that in that journey, and a part of you understands. Okay. Right?
So it's not just coming out of judgment?
No, it's not just coming out of judgment. It's coming out of inexperience with that situation.
Yep.
Like we are literally all like, we're walking a 5K, and the person at the beginning of the 5K is going to be frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? Because they're messing up and they're doing, stuff that you decide is wrong. But it's like, it's just because you're so far from that lesson that you don't remember experiencing it, or it's just, it's so far out of your reality now. It's like thinking about how you felt when you're 5. I don't really remember how I felt when I was 5 because I'm 45 now. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So if we could just have a little more empathy and compassion, because we are all doing the same journey. We're at different grade levels. We're at different locations. Yep. We're all just trying and doing the best that we can. It might not seem that way, but you know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If there's any questions that you see that you want to answer in the chat.
Somebody said, how would one know if it is schizophrenia or past life coming through? I think I already answered that with the other.
Yep. Wrong show, Anna.
Jessica J says, I'm just starting out and was told that I'm sensitive and have a gift, but I don't know what my gift is. You can Google that, okay? You can Google what the different clairs are and just figure out which one resonates with you. Which one do you feel, you're already using? Yep. There's like 8 of them. 8 different clair abilities.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks very much for having us on the show, coming on the show, Misty.
Absolutely.
We could totally open up all those areas and just go so much in depth. So when's your book coming out?
When's my book coming out? What book? It's so funny that you say that. I don't remember having that conversation with you. And that's why I find it hilarious that you say that, because when I had that out of time body experience, I was told that I need to write a book about it, because people need to understand, people need to know why they're here. They need to understand why they're here. And honestly, the reason you're here, the reason I'm here, the reason all of us are here, we are individual aspects of source energy living the same experience in an individual way. Okay. Yep. And so we are all experiencing the same thing in a different personality as part of the whole. And once we have learned everything there is to learn as a soul, we will go back to source and bring that information back to source. We will be recalibrated as a new, mathematical number. Numbers are infinite. And we will be sent back out to do it again. We are the searchers. We are the information gatherers. And we are part of an ever-expanding consciousness. So learn everything that you can learn, experience everything that you can experience, and enjoy the good and the bad, because it's all part of your soul journey.
Yep. That's it. Stop avoiding the hard stuff.
Stop avoiding the hard stuff. That's right. That's right. It's all about how you react to situations,
Yep.
I mean, that's what I've learned. I've learned not to freak out and slip into victim mentality and wait for somebody else to figure out what I'm supposed to do. It's literally like, okay, how do I handle this situation? What do I do now? And that's really what it's all about. Like you learning how to respond to situations that the universe throws at you.
Absolutely. It's so exciting.
When
I look back at life when I was just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Day in, day out. And I knew that when my awakening happened, I knew that if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to die just doing the same thing I've been doing. And I was like, that's boring. I need change.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. When you need change, when you are feeling stuck in life, that is literally your soul telling you it's time to expand.
Yep. Mm-hmm. What did Einstein say? He said insanity is doing the same thing every time and expecting different results.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
agree with that. I agree with that.
How many times I pulled the same card out for you? Said the same thing last
week? Honestly, I have people like that. No, honestly, I have like 2 or 3 people that I do tarot card readings for, because everybody does tarot card readings. They're just, intuitive or whatever. But I have 2 or 3 people like every time, like same thing. Same thing. Like every single time. Like do something different and you will get a different result. If you keep living the same day over and over again, never stepping outside of your comfort zone, then you're going to have a very predictable future. Very predictable. Yeah.
Well, that just reminds me, I've got to stir some things up.
Yeah.
I've just gotten in the, you know what it's like. You can just become so busy doing stuff that you start to get on top of things, and then you're like, wait a sec, I'm in such a routine at the moment. I've got to shake things up again. Right.
And it's important to keep all the aspects of your life balanced. You can't spend all of your time in your spiritual zone. You can't spend all of your time in your mental zone or your physical zone. Your emotional zone. You have to really balance it like 4 sections of a plate spinning on a pencil, or like operating a helicopter. Those take like constant minute details. Like that is what it is like trying to keep yourself in balance. Like you have all these different aspects of yourself that you have to pay attention to and check in with occasionally so that you stay in balance.
Yep. I got one. Did we do this one? I'm just starting out, and I was told I'm sensitive and have.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we did that one. Sorry, I don't know. I just had some more things up. Oh well. Thanks for coming on the show, Misty.
You're welcome.
We'll have to do this again. This was.
I had a great time.
I learned so much, and I'm sure everyone did. So people, even though this show, you can share it out and put it on other pages, and it will just get all the information out there. If you want to get in contact with Misty, all the links are in the show notes. You do reading shows. How often do you do those?
Yes. I am in Texas, USA. So my live shows are usually at 7 p.m., which would be 9:30 in the morning in Australia.
Yep.
But my readings are usually at about 7 p.m. and I try to go Monday through Friday-ish live. I'm also available for private readings on Facebook. Those are private video readings.
Yep.
And I also do life coaching for people who don't know what to do with themselves.
That's it. I'm going to play out the same cards again until you change it.
Yep. Pretty much.
Okay, it's been great to have you on the show. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yes, I really enjoyed it, and I'd be willing to come, do readings with y'all whenever you do your thing. That's fun.
Yeah. We'll hook it up then. Do it on the weekend so we can meet in the middle, so no one has to get up early and no one has to stay up too late.
Exactly. I don't mind waking up early. I mean, it's just that I started homeschooling my daughter, and we don't have to get up at 6 or 7 in the morning anymore, so we don't. Yep. It's just like, okay, got to get up a little bit earlier, but it's fine. You know, I really enjoy the show. I really enjoy meeting new people and sharing my individual spiritual insight and learning experiences and gifts with people. And I hope you all can take something away from this. I hope it's planted some seeds in all of you. If you're ready to receive, you know, that seed will be planted and it will be watered by the universe in divine timing.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Okay, people, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Misty. This has been my pleasure.
It's been my pleasure too.
Yep. And people, we'll be back. I haven't got anyone booked as such for next week, but I've got some emergency guests always lined up.
Wonderful.
So we'll see you this time next week for another Soul Focus episode. So until then, people, catch you later. Bye. See everyone.
Bye.